This is a Film Stories original podcast.
Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
What makes a great pair of glasses? At Warby Parker, it's all the invisible extras without the extra cost. Their designer quality frames start at $95, including prescription lenses, plus scratch-resistant, smudge-resistant, and anti-reflective coatings, and UV protection, and free adjustments for life. To find your next pair of glasses, sunglasses, or contact lenses, or to find the Warby Parker store nearest you, head over to warbyparker.com. That's warbyparker.com.
This is Writers on Film, the only podcast dedicated to books on cinema. Hello everybody and welcome to Writers on Film. My name is John Bleasdale. I am a writer and film critic, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different because instead of a writer we've got a comedian. Chris Calogero is a comic who has played the clubs in New York, Los Angeles and all over the United States of America. He is also an actor, and he has produced a series of videos that I first came across on Twitter of him nailing various movie cliches in a hilarious manner. I'm going to put some links on the show notes so that you can click to his site and see them for yourself, but they've caught the attention not just of me but people from the New York Times and Funny or Die website, and I think he's a really smart guy. I thought it'd be really interesting to have a conversation with him about movies, about his passions, about what inspired him to do these videos, and generally about comedy and movies as well. So I hope that you enjoy the conversation. I'm sure you will, and if you do, please remember to spread the word on the social media as far and as wide as you can go. We're still on Twitter at Dr. Jonty, DRJONTY, but you could also find me on Instagram and increasingly on Threads, so have a look for me there as well. Especially if you can't stomach Twitter, which I fully understand. Before you do that, however, enjoy the conversation. You're in Los Angeles, right?
I am. I'm in LA. I've been here for about 2.5 years now.
And you coming from New Jersey?
From Brooklyn, actually. Yeah, so Jersey by way of Brooklyn. Moved there because I moved to New York because of comedy, basically. Right. And my now wife had a job in Miami, and then she was coming back up, and so we just moved into a place in Brooklyn together.
And so you sort of started out in New York in the comedy scene before moving out to LA.
Yeah, so I started in comedy. I started comedy in New York, down in the West Village, way back in 2007. So I've been at it for a while. But yeah, I started in New York, which is a funny place to start because, you know, it's like starting a video game level on hard. You know, it's just you're just like right in the middle of it.
You got such incredible competition, I imagine.
Well, it's funny because it's both I feel it's both quantity and quality. You have the best of the best to me in terms of like pure stand-up comedians, but you also have however X amount of people starting every single day in that city. So it bubbles up quite big for like I feel like the comedy scene goes through like some Phoenix moments where it like are supernovas, where
Yeah.
it expands out really huge and then it comes back in a little bit and then it is always like kind of pulsating with people.
I was in New York. Now, this was a long time ago. This was like we went to see Spam a lot. We did all the tourist things.
Yeah, yeah.
You know how you sort of get the guys outside on the pavement sort of selling you tickets for comedy gigs.
Oh, I did it. I used to do it.
Right. Well, that's it. They're often comedians saying, oh, you might see me there, and we went and
Right.
there were like 3 or 4 comedians in, and I was so stupid. I was such an idiot that when they sit you down, they sort of said you have to buy however many drinks, 3 drinks or something, or 4 drinks.
Yeah.
As part of you get your ticket and you get 3 or 4 drinks or whatever. And I'm such an idiot. I thought you had to buy them all at once.
I mean, it's not honestly a bad strategy in terms of comedy clubs because then you can avoid, having to do that awkward like in the middle of it, like and like trying to be quiet. So honestly, like you kind of hack the system a little bit.
The only reason it was 4 was because it was 2 each, and
Right, too. Yeah.
and,
Yep.
and Lydia was like, "I'm not having a drink," and so it was like, "Well, I guess that's me having to take one for the
Yep.
team."
Yeah. I mean, 4 drinks would that set you back like 55, $60 or something?
This was back a little while, but yeah, it was still yeah, I couldn't go on that long drinking at that place.
No, you can't. It's like so funny. It's like their main goal in the end is to sell drinks. When I started comedy, a woman who was kind of teaching me was like, you can either become a comedian or you can become a drink salesman, and comedy clubs are really they're bars, they're trying to make money off of that. So it's like when those guys are selling you tickets, it's like, hey, do you like comedy? And $9 Bud Lights is basically what they're saying.
The reason I wanted to have you on the podcast is I love these films that you did, and they were collected by Funny or Die as well, which were sort of collection of movie cliches. I remember one of them is they're so well edited as well. They're so well put together. The one
Oh,
about
thank you.
sort of movies that are desperately begging for Oscar, like Oscar bait, Meryl Streep style, or
Yeah, the Oscar big one. Oh wow, that's nobody ever references that one. It's one of my favorites.
yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of the Imitation Game is in there as well. I sort of spot a few
Yeah,
few references.
yeah. That movie always struck me as like one of the more Oscar baity movies. I don't know why it's always stuck in my head as a movie that was like just like we did all the stuff. Like here's all we did it all. Can we have the award? I don't know why that one in particular because there's a lot like it.
The one thing that gets me about that film as well is that it's so not true in terms of
Right.
the baddie who's played by Charles Dance, who is like, Turing, what are you doing? You're meddling again. And it's like, no, that guy actually was the guy who put the team together and protected Turing from any outside things. He's actually the good guy, and you've made him into a villain because of your screenwriting
Right.
class.
I mean, maybe it's also, if you cast Charles Dance, he's got to be a villain. So maybe they maybe they just were like, oh man, he's got to be a bad guy. But it's also really funny for like a movie about a mathematician slash scientist to have kind of an angry chief character in there, which is essentially what he's doing, right? Which is like you're not playing by the rules, Turing. Like it's so silly, yeah. But that Oscar one is like one of my favorites because they're all pretty context-free things. They're a bunch of clips that are meaningless unless you know like Oscar bait movies. So I feel like that's a good one to reference because it's like that's for people who know those kinds of movies.
It's all about winning or losing, or it's not about winning, or it's not about losing.
Right, yeah. There's like no really through line aside from like give us an Oscar.
I love the idea of Charles Dance as being the lieutenant or the sergeant that you get in the cop movies, because that's another of your videos that I really like. Charles Dance would be sort of, give me your protractor and your pencil, put them on the desk.
Yeah. Enigma machine? What are we talking about here? but yeah, that was the police chief in an action movie. That was my first ever one. It was like the first video I did, and the first video, or the first like thing on Twitter that like did anything for me at all, like that really went somewhere. And then I realized I had this big, wide knowledge base of having watched, a million movies, as a kid and teenager and adult, that and my comedy background, I felt like it was just a good mixture of those things combined with a moment on social media where those kinds of videos were taking off, and people were enjoying them, and you didn't have to be mean or weird or anything else. Just a movie lover and a comedian kind of fit the bill there.
There's a real warmth to them and an affection. You can tell you really enjoy movies as well. It's not just like, I don't know, cinema sins or something where it's picking on stuff which you think, yeah, why does this happen with this? This isn't like, you're perfectly capable of going, okay, this is a cliche, but it
Right.
doesn't, I can recognize it and I can riff on it, but without destroying the films that it inhabits.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually going to reference them too. I really don't like their the way they attack movies, because there does not feel like there's a love there so much as a look at me, look how smart I am kind of thing. And I don't. There's too many things that talk about the reasons that they hate stuff, and especially as that gets traction on the internet. And I'm glad that it comes across that I love those characters. I mean, they're stock cliche characters, but I love them. And the beautiful thing about them is so many different wonderful actors have taken those stocks and made great roles out of them, and done great things with them. But they're always there. They're comforting. They're wonderful. They transcend actors, and I hope that it always comes through that these are my guys, man. I love those dudes, especially
Yeah.
like action movie guy, like action movie cliches, and all those things. Like, I'm such a big fan of that in particular, in action movies in particular.
Yeah, I love the fact. What was the film that really plays on all the cliches? The Other Guys, the Will
Oh yeah,
Ferrell. That
yes.
really sort of like the whole thing about the explosion, and usually people are sort of like very brush off an explosion. They're like, my eyes, my
Yeah.
eyebrows.
Yeah, the movie's really great at that. That and Hot Fuzz are like a great double feature for like lovingly acknowledging, but also playing up the stereotypes of and cliches from action movies. Because they do attack them with a respect and a love, and I appreciate that.
Well, did a tweet earlier today about Alien Romulus, and then I felt a bit guilty about it because it was a similar sort of cinema sins thing, and I've written screenplays in the past, and there's this thing that annoys me a little bit when I see it, which is where people establish everybody's relationship in a scene and they go, oh yeah, you know my crazy brother, oh get out of here my sister, and and it's like, okay, but there's another bit of me that goes, that's a really economic way of just establishing who everyone is immediately, rather
Yeah.
than, or you get it in period films, like True Stories, where somebody is like, Mr. Gauguin, meet Mr. Van Gogh, you two should get
Yeah,
along.
yeah. Yeah. And then Ben goes like, talking this here or something, like the foreshadowing too happens. I think that's really funny. But yeah, man, I think the meet the team thing. I mean, I love a team of people on a mission they won't come back from kind of movies, or when I did a video of like the Meet the Heist crew, and it's very similar, right? Like it's kind of playing on that, which is just you meet the person and they have like 5 to 10 seconds to give you their thing. And then it's like out. And I think that happens in those sci-fi action movies a lot, especially the alien movies, which are so contingent on the crew. The crew is like so important in those movies. I haven't seen Romulus yet, but I'm excited now that you even said that to see it.
Oh yeah. You'll definitely enjoy there are the cliches. You will be able to stroke the cliches from your chair.
I love it.
I mean, there are literally characters who are their haircut. It's just like
Oh my God.
they
Yeah.
have very little about them, except they've got, meet me, I'm short hair punk lady.
Right. Yeah, it's like, I mean, Aliens does that incredibly well when they wake up from the cryo sleep and they all just are. It's like they wake up and they're like, "Oh, I gotta be the most over the top version of myself right now."
The staff sergeant, which goes back to our talking about the police lieutenant, the staff sergeant actually sort of has a cigar and just
It
puts
puts
it in
it
his mouth straight
right back
away.
in. Yeah. I mean, that's how like that's such a good introduction to the world that you're stepping into.
It just makes me think, how did he get into the Cairo pod? Like, it was like, and I've got to have my wake up cigar here.
Yeah, I like to think that there was like also a little cryopod inside the cryopod that was just cigar size that he also like he put the little cigar inside the cryo case and then they both opened at the same time.
Cryo humidifier for the for the
Yeah.
cigar. So, but what was your what's your love of movies? What was your first sort of experience? How did you get into them?
Well, yeah, my dad, I had a dad, I have a dad who just didn't care if I watched R-rated movies, so would show like we would see like so many movies and going to the movies every weekend it was like important in seeing the new releases because my dad was into them and I just really got into them and I feel like the one that clicked in my brain that was like, oh, I love movies was he rented Raising Arizona when I was a kid and watched it as a new release. And I just remember thinking that, like, wow, this is a real life cartoon. And this is, it just hit a lot of boxes for a kid. And then I was like and I would watch, Raiders of the I remember back in the day, McDonald's used to give away VHS tapes if you went,
Wow.
or you could buy them for like you buy your meal and you could buy like a tape for like another 9.99. So my dad got Back to the Future and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I would just wear those movies out. I would watch them constantly. So yeah, they've always been a part of my life. I've always loved them. And then I remember in high school I took a film course and we made a movie. Me and my friends all made a movie together about a police investigation, and the cop is the twist is the cop is the guy who did it, and he's investigating his own murders with his partner and stuff. And it actually ends on a like a John Woo standoff, and it cuts to black, and you don't know what happens. We were very excited about that.
Foreshadowing The Sopranos as well.
Yes, yeah, we cut, and it was shot in New Jersey, so
There you go.
not bad. But yeah, I don't know. I remember the other movie that was formative for me was Reservoir Dogs. When I saw that for the first time at about, I don't know, I was maybe 15. It like blew my mind that this movie existed. I was like, I cannot believe that they make movies like this. Now knowing, how much influence Tarantino took from so many other films. But at the time, your entry point is your entry point, and you go, whoa, like this has to be the first time anybody ever did anything like this. And I watched that over and over and over again. So yeah, then I was just in, man. That was it. My dad introduced me to a lot of great movies.
Yeah, I still think Reservoir Dogs is Tarantino's best movie. I mean, it's before Tarantino was Tarantino, and so and already
Absolutely.
with Pulp Fiction, he knows he's Tarantino, and that's so.
Right.
I mean, Pulp Fiction is great as well, but I just think Reservoir Dogs has this purity. Yes, it's absorbing all these things, but he doesn't even know that he'll be found out.
Yeah.
It's like he can fool us. As far as he knows, it's going straight to video.
I mean, yeah, that movie I mean, first of all, it's like a character actor heaven in that movie. Yeah, there's a real rawness and a real this may be my only chance to make a movie quality to it. That really, really holds up and really feels I mean, it feels very of its time, but also not.
It's always weird in that movie when they're wearing real clothes, because when they're wearing their sort of suits, it's like this could be the 1950s, and then they're talking about Madonna. It's like, well, okay, it's not the 1950s,
Right.
it's 1990s, and it's
Right.
it's so pure. And I love Raising Arizona. I think that's a underrated Coen Brothers classic.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I partially, the context of watching with my dad is so young and it making me it was part of the reason I love movies, like I said, but it's also so good and so funny, and Nick Cage is incredible in it. And I mean, it is like almost a Looney Tunes, like a Wile E. Coyote movie. It is almost is that vibe going on, and it's such a good. They create such a good world that you wanna go back and visit it, and like they kind of do it again with a lot of specificity. But man, that the world that they established so quickly. Talk about establishing character relationships. That movie does it so incredibly well.
And even like the shopkeeper, when they're buying balloons for the baby, it's like, does it blow up into funny, funny shapes? Not unless you find circular funny.
So good, dude.
I've got lines from that film engraved in my head. I think I must have watched it 1,000 times. It's so
Oh
good.
my God, I was just saying, I love like me and Dottie are swingers, as in to swing. And I say to swing all the time. It's such a dumb line.
I love his voiceover in it where he says, her womb was a barren place where my seed could find no purchase. And it's just like,
Yeah.
how the hell did he get that
Oh
from what the
man,
doctor was saying?
that's it's one of my favorite Coen Brothers things is the yokel with the eloquent dialogue is
Yeah.
they I love that, and they do it in so many different movies. I
Yeah.
mean, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? All three of those guys are speaking in that way, but they're just like I said, they're yokels and they talk like they've been like formally educated.
I interviewed Tim Blake Nelson recently, and he was sort of
Oh,
like,
cool.
he was saying that his whole career he owes to the Coen brothers because he said because they decided to cast gargoyles. So
Yes, man. We got to keep casting the gargoyles, man. I was just talking about this with somebody, we can't lose our politely, to put it politely, faces full of character
well,
actors.
to go back to Alien, I mean, you look at Alien, you got Harry Dean Stanton, Yaphet Kotto, John Hurt, Ian Holm. I mean, they all look very distinctive and different. Of course,
Right.
Sigourney Weaver, it looks amazing, and Tom Skerritt probably is the only other one who's sort of like an amazing looking guy. But in the new one, they look like H&M models.
Yeah.
They're all blandly fairly beautiful. I don't want to spoil it for you because I had a lot of fun with it, so I'm not
Yeah, no, I'm excited, but I mean, it's not unusual, and I don't, I understand the reasoning, and I don't blame, any actors who are trying to get ripped,
Mm.
and work out and stuff, but yeah, I do think that I don't I hate losing the guys, the women, the interesting looking people who are not going to be the stars. I got really upset when and he was great in it. But Colin Farrell as the Penguin, I was like,
Mm.
come on, that's for an ugly man. Or give us somebody with some character. And like I really enjoyed what he did with it. I'm sure the TV show will be good, but I was like, you could save on this prosthetics by just casting an Uggo, just
Yeah,
do it.
I mean, Richard Kind is right there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not
I mean,
saying, but he just looks like Richard Kind. I'm not saying that Richard Kind is an ugly man, but
no, no, yeah. And when I say ugly, I mean Hollywood ugly, like these are normal looking people who just are able to get roles. I recently watched The Taking of Pelham 123, the
oh
original.
right,
And
yeah.
man, that's got some faces in it.
Well, I mean, there was a time that Hollywood sort of had, normal faces or people who even could be said to be sort of more unusual looking than the average. I mean, Robert Mitchum in The Friends of Eddie Coyle or Humphrey Bogart or Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah,
I mean, these guys weren't
yeah.
like, they weren't cracking mirrors exactly, but they weren't, absolutely sort of runway ready.
Right. And there were those guys. I mean, there was beautiful actors and actresses back then too, but there was like a healthy dose of normal looking guys who also could lead movies and not just B-side characters.
That's it. Yeah, that's the idea. Nowadays, we would look at someone like Humphrey Bogart and we go, okay, you could be a character actor, certainly, but as long as Colin
Right.
Farrell doesn't want to take your role, that is.
He's coming for all of them, man.
I do love him, but yeah, give
Me too.
break, man. Give
It was
So,
so funny when they cast him as the Penguin. I was like, well, that's a new take. And then I was like, oh, well, they're just gonna throw a bunch of prosthetics on him. Oh, okay.
yeah, there you go. What do you think when you watch movies? Is there a sense that you're looking for inspiration with your comedy that you're sort of do you find, especially when you're doing your videos, is there a
Mhm.
sense that you're sort of looking for things that that'll be something that'd work?
I sure good question. I haven't done a lot of the videos lately, but I try to not watch things and think of how they can become I hesitate to use the word content because I hate it,
Mm,
but how they can become something that I could use because I think, and this goes for making especially these bite-sized things for the internet, which has become a lot of what the internet is in terms of entertainment. But if I force it, it's not gonna be anything that I care about.
right.
It'll. I mean, if it does come to me in the middle of something, even if it's a joke or if it's something I want to write or note or maybe make a video about, I'll pause it and take a little note. But I find that if I'm pushing it, then there's a crack in the foundation immediately.
Right. Yeah, you're sort of building it on sand if it's got if you, as you say, if you're forcing it too much.
Right. Like I have to think of something. I have to make some hay out of this. And then also it takes me out of watching the movie. It'll I'm sure like once one part of your brain starts going off on a little trail, a little adventure by itself, then you're like, wait, who's this guy? Why don't they want to give him the coach to the nuclear football? I can't remember this.
Yeah, you just
And
ruined
then
it
you have to
big time.
rewind. You have to rewind, you have to go back, and then you're just like, I don't know. And then also, there's a potential, and I'm bad at this. I'm sure a lot of people are, of sometimes just grabbing your phone and being like writing something down, and then being like, ooh, let me play with all the things on here.
Yeah. I've got to put my phone in a box if I want to watch a movie because it's just like even if I put it on the other side of the room, I find myself crawling towards the phone. And
Yeah, dude.
I mean, in Netflix, apparently, I was talking to some executive in Switzerland, and they were telling me that they're actually designing stuff that they call this is good two screening content because you can watch it on two screens at the same time. And it's almost like
Yeah,
it's
I've heard this.
you design it as radio essentially, so you don't have to be there's nothing visually you have to be watching while you're watching.
Right, right. And I find that it's a bummer to think of things like that because I think they have plenty of shows in reality TV and things that are trashy that, I will have an edible and watch with my wife and, mock and do all those things and I think there's something about the folding laundry shows, they doing some chores and having something on, but I think to seek it out and make it, especially as a movie, is a bummer. I mean, there's so many things that streaming seems to not understand about the way that people want to enjoy movies. And that is certainly one of them. I mean, Paramount doesn't even put the movies out anymore. So
I mean, the thing with movies, the worst one for me in Netflix is when they throw up what to watch next when the titles are going up. It's like, I don't want to watch anything next. I just watched a movie. I want to see the credits. It's like so ungrateful.
I know it is. Yeah, they really, I and I had to turn off the thing where it just starts playing something else, which
Oh,
is
right.
like, or like you're watching TV and an episode of TV on that in there, and it just shoots right to the next episode, and you're like, give me a break, man. Even if I do want to watch it, I'll choose it. I gotta go use the restroom. I gotta get another drink. This like they're just like driving you to sit there and watch, and I get it to a certain degree, but man, it feels real Clockwork Orangey.
Yeah, clock. And I loved the piece you did about the guy who misapplies George Orwell to everything. This is
Oh
so
yeah.
Orwellian. This is why is it not, my toast is burnt. What? This is like a dystopia by George Orwell.
Yeah, man, one of the most misunderstood books of all time at this point, maybe.
Yeah, he said Big Brother was like going to be this scary thing to avoid, but apparently you queue up around the block to get it on it now.
Yeah, dude. Yep. We worship it now. It, like you gotta hop online and defend all the billionaires, man. Who else is gonna do it?
I know, especially Musk. I mean, Walter Isaacson wrote a biography of Leonardo da Vinci, a biography of Einstein, a biography of Steve Jobs. Already there, you're beginning to push it, Walter. You're beginning to push your genius definition. And then he writes a biography of Musk. I mean, come on, man. He must be embarrassed about that now.
I wonder. Yeah, I wonder if, I mean, I feel like a lot of people got suckered in at first to the Musk thing, but to write a whole book, I mean, goodness gracious.
There comes a point where you would be putting down your pencil and go, "Come again?" You know,
yeah. You just like staring up at the wall, like at the ceiling in the middle of the night, just like, what am I doing?
There's like a Tenacious D song where they sing about, you know, the future, and they're going like, you know, we'll travel in tubes, and it's like, that's Elon Musk, isn't it? Like tunnels.
It is
tunneling under the floor.
He built a tunnel. I remember when the tunnel thing was happening. I was like, are we being gaslit to think that tunnels like didn't exist? I mean, we have the movie Daylight, for Christ's sake. It's all about tunnels.
There's that bit in Blade Runner where he's thinking about he's going through one and you hear the gunshot. Come on, we've had tunnels for yonks.
Yeah, I was like, okay. To me, it almost felt like an experiment of like, how much do you love me? I'm going to make a tunnel, and like, will you defend this? And people were like, absolutely, we will go to war for your tunnel.
Oh no, I'd love to know. Now that he owns X / Twitter, it's really difficult to tell if anybody actually likes him anymore because it's there. And I've really had this, especially with the riots in the UK and his sort of comments, I really sort of wanted to leave Twitter, but I feel so bad because I've got 12,000 followers and I want to keep them. I don't want to go to Threads and have 1,000 followers.
I know. It's such a bummer. I mean, he really tanked it. And talking about meeting people, like I've met so many wonderful people on there, and I felt the same way. But I don't know if it was somebody was just talking about how like leaving X or Twitter is not going to hurt them. Like everything's going to proceed the same way, so you might as well just stay on it. And I don't think there has been like a better alternative. I mean, everybody hopped on Threads, but I rarely go over there or Blue Sky or any of these other places because it still doesn't have the vibrancy.
No, I agree. I'm trying to do a bit more on Threads and seeing if I can build it up and see what happens. But it just means I sort of feels like I'm doubling my work. And it feels like work, which it shouldn't do, really.
I know, and it didn't before, and now it does. You know, I've my album coming out. I've promoted it on all the things, and I put it on one thing, and then I close that, and I go over to another, and I put it on there, and I close that, and I go to another, and I put it on there, and I'm like, what? It's too much. But I mean, some people did leave Twitter. Some people just left. So you know, you want to try to meet people where they are too.
Totally agree. And I think that's the thing is if you have something to promote, you know, like your album or my podcast for that matter, for this podcast, it will be, that's the only advertising I have is.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot. We charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Social media. I'm not going to be gluing up billboards anytime soon. So.
Right.
Listen, let's stop talking about our own social media woes because
Yeah, it's terrible.
it's
It's
about
supposed to stay on the computer.
it's about first, yeah. What happens on the internet stays on the internet. So
Yeah.
you are a horror fan as well. I see you got your Overlook Hotel app on.
Oh yeah, I try to wear like a movie hat if I do a movie podcast, but yeah, horror movies. I love horror movies. Those are like that's my favorite. I really when I was a teenager, so I like we were talking about getting into movies. I got into
Yeah.
movies. When I was a kid too, my uncle always had horror movies going, and I saw them way too young. A lot of Friday the 13th that I saw very young. And then when I was a teenager, it felt cool to watch, especially like to go through old horror movies and watch them and feel like I was doing something illicit by watching these, especially like 70s exploitation movies and really hardcore horror movies. Me and my friends would watch them. I worked in a video store, so I would rent out three videos, actual videotapes at a time that I could watch. And then we would go to another video store and then pick out our favorite covers of horror movies that we would then watch. So yeah, horror is like very important to me.
What were some of those early ones that you watched that were? Yeah, I remember some that I never watched, but I remember the covers really well. I remember the
Yeah.
Exterminator with the welding mask and the blowtorch.
Yeah.
And I only really recently, like 2, 3 years ago, I sort of found it on the internet and watched it and thought, oh, that's okay. But in my head, it was going to be like, oh man, they drop him into a mincing machine. You know?
Yeah, dude, that's the thing I miss is the covers, especially the covers of horror movies. They would really, really go for it. But I remember there was I don't know if do you remember Maxim magazine? It was kind of like a cheesecake men's, it was always like a woman on a bikini. Yeah. So they would actually have some good movie coverage and they put out a list of like 25 B movies to watch, and we ripped that out of the thing and we started watching all of them. So we watched stuff like I Spit on Your Grave, which is a brutal movie. It's like a rape revenge exploitation movie. We watched that when we were 17, and I remember me and the other guys watching just kind of silently like got up as the credits rolled and we're like, all right, see you later. Like it's just
Oh,
like
I'm gonna
not
have a bath. Hug my
yeah.
mother, tell her I'm sorry. I Spit on Your Grave. Isn't that the one with the really inappropriate sort of like folksy theme songs?
Oh, it might be.
It's got a real sort of like sunshine and flowers sort of
Oh, it might be, yeah.
yeah,
It might
lovely drippy drops of rain. And
right
then
because
it's
they
just
really want to hammer home the innocence of this woman, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're sort of like hippies on their way to New York for a concert or something.
That might be Last House on the Left.
Oh, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yes, Last
Yeah.
House on the Left. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Which is also a brutal movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched those and we watched then we got into a little bit of Argento with like Suspiria and I think a movie called Three Sisters. But yeah, name of that Argento movie now. But yeah,
Uh,
but we watched all those bloody movies.
I think the one that most upset me from that era was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as that's the one that stuck with me, and I watched that way too young.
Yeah, I mean that movie is vicious. It is really, and it talk about like talking about Tarantino making Reservoir Dogs. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like everything is he puts everything into that movie. And obviously they squeezed as many resources as they could down to the bone. But man, that is another like I may never make a movie, so I'm going to make the most horrifying movie. And I feel like that movie has the so many movies like take from that movie.
Absolutely. I think that movie taught me something as well about like how you kill people in terms of how you kill people on screen is that you don't need to do anything blood-wise or anything. It's just like the foot of a guy who's been hit on the head sort of spasming. That's the thing that
Oh
sort of
man,
scares the shit out of you, you know?
absolutely. Or even like the that big metal door whipping open being grabbed and then closed is a horrifying image.
Even watching it today, that movie freaks me out. I will never be safe in front of that film.
Yeah, no, that movie is rough. I remember also they put out, it was one of those movies where they kept putting out different editions of DVDs, you know? Like horror has this happen all the time, all the time, where there's like somebody gets the rights and the rights are always moving around and then people are putting out their versions of the DVDs. But I had one where the DVD cover looked like a package of ground beef. So like it was like a picture of like packaged ground beef. And it was such a disgusting DVD cover. For some reason, it's not like bloody or anything, but it's just meat.
Because of the butcher who's basically selling it at the little petrol station that's
Yeah.
sort of barbecue meat and stuff. I actually went around Texas and found all those places.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I mean, the house they've moved. The house is now like a fairly, bijou restaurant bar, but they have all the memorabilia and everything. And it's
that's cool.
But I found the barbecue place, the sort of the petrol station place as well, and that was kind of fun. And it is kind of a creepy barbecue place out in the middle of nowhere. And so I sort of looked around.
I believe it.
I couldn't find anyone and decided I'll take a selfie and then I think I'll go now.
Yeah, dude. Middle of Texas is a scary place.
This is the beginning of my own horror movie.
Yeah, I've driven through that entire state and it can get pretty bleak.
Wait, I was going to ask this. Do you do a lot of traveling with your comedy?
I haven't done a ton. I'll be in Albuquerque at the end of this month, doing some headlining sets. I've done a little bit, and I've driven across the country 2 different times, and I've done a lot of shows and stuff in the Midwest, and things. But I'm hoping after the album comes out to do a little more traveling. Though I gotta say, like, comedy clubs are not that appealing to me.
Right.
For all that they have, the connotations. So I'd rather be able to do shows that I set up, you know.
And going back to the horror then, the sort of cliches that, I mean, horror is full of cliches and it's full of
Oh my God, so full of it.
What's your sort of favorite horror movie cliches that you kind of spot?
Oh, I mean, I love the character who excitedly talks about the people who have been butchered. You know, as it, like, if like, especially like in high school slashers, the person who like breaks the news that somebody died and they have no compassion when they're saying it. It's just,
oh my God, did you
just,
hear what happened to Deirdre?
Yeah, it's the best. It's like, that's my favorite. It's one of my favorites. I did a video about this, but the disgusting coroner is one of my favorites. The guy who's like eating a sandwich, like, and there's bodies and he's disgusting and everything is like out of order and he's like, the cops are looking for like one specific thing and he's just like going through stuff while like bodies are over there. Then there's the cousin to that is like the horny like EMT, you know. Who's like, whoa, she was hot, you know. There's a lot of sexual weird cliches in horror movies because it's so tied to like sex and sexual exploitation and violence and all that stuff. So it's always, I mean, so many of the cliches are people who have seemingly no ability to have tact in a situation where somebody has just been brutally murdered.
One of the cliches I always think is funny from anything that is procedural is when they're doing something which is really highly unusual, but it's like, put the cassette in that we always play when we're doing this, and you know, and it's usually because a beginner is there and like, oh, what are we doing? Yeah. Strap up, you know, and
yeah.
The biggest example of this I've got is Philip Seymour Hoffman in the original Twister. Is like they're going to chase a twister, and in order to show how sort of laid back they are about it, they have their own song and it's all very rock and roll, and it's like, piss off. Even if it was my 20th, you know, storm, I would still be like, oh, this is gonna be scary.
Yeah. No, I love it. And you're right, it's always for the benefit of like the new person, the Jamie Gertz or something who happens to be there. I love that too, and that's such a good one. I also love the guy in a horror movie who just comes in midway through and has the answer to everything.
Oh, like an exposition dump sort of.
Yeah, just like he's like, what did you guys do? Oh, you went in the basement, you played the music box, and then when you played the music box, you didn't say the little three words after it, and now, of course, everybody's dying, and he's like mad at you for not knowing this for some reason.
Yeah, of course. Haven't you been to the occult library the way I
Right,
have?
right, and then he he gives that information, and then he gives the crucial information about how to win, how to defeat this thing, and then he gets killed.
Yeah, he has to be killed because he's such a smart ass, and he
Yeah,
can't
he
have.
can't have him running around.
No, he's going to be too helpful. I think
Yeah.
Poltergeist has someone like that as well. Poltergeist is someone turns up halfway through and says, "Oh well, of course this that."
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen Poltergeist in a minute, but you're absolutely right. But yeah, it's a mostly like a lot of it is like a haunting or a possession movie where it has that character.
I mean, it's a bit weird at the moment because there's a whole stream of horror movies which are made about characters who themselves have seen horror movies. I mean, I guess the Scream franchises was the beginning of that, but
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods, and there's loads of people who are going, oh no, okay, this is what should happen now because this is what happens in a horror movie.
Yeah, the meta character. I mean, Scream introduced that and did it the best. And then, I mean, it's similar to, I was going to say this about Reservoir Dogs, and you talking about the scene where they're talking about Madonna. Like this scene to me that launched probably like 100 terrible meta scenes in screenplays that never got made, or some that did get made. But it inspires people to do the same, and I felt that that was so cool in Scream, and then it becomes a little less cool with every iteration of it, right? But a
Yeah.
movie that actually does that before Scream, that's Wes Craven's movie, is A New Nightmare, which is extremely meta.
Right, the which is in the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
Right. Yeah, it's about the real characters, but apparently, Freddy was based on some legend, and then they're fighting him in ostensibly real life. Which is cool. And it didn't have the impact that Scream had, but Wes Craven was poking around the edges of the horror genre just a few years before.
I always think it's really weird how a lot of these horror films, especially in their first iteration, are sort of kind of, have at their heart a real darkness. And then as the sequels come on, they become very playful sort of superhero films, where they are super anti-hero films. Because in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's like this child murderer. It's like, it's not,
Yeah.
it's, it's like, and then in the second and third, he's already this like, kind of Freddy,
Yeah, he becomes a real rascal.
Yeah,
it's that first Nightmare is he's a brutal character, but a great creation. And then the next thing you know, he's quipping, he's constantly quipping in these movies, and you are like, and then the characters progressively become less likable that he's killing. I feel like because they kind of know the audience is now rooting for Freddy.
which then leads up to something like Dexter, where you have a serial killer, the contortions that have to go into Dexter to make him sort of like, oh, he's an anti-hero hero. He's a hero anti-hero. It's like, oh, come on, man.
The serial killer that kills serial killers. Yeah.
Oh, it's such a stupid idea. I mean, I watched the first season, but I was like, oh, this is so bad. I mean, it's good, but it's bad.
Yes, I felt the same. I think I watched the first like season or two, and then it is by the time 3 seasons or after 2 seasons, it's just Dexter being like, full of blood and on all his clothes, and he's just like, oh, making a cake is tough, and you're like, all right, what's happening here? How does nobody know?
I was cutting the lawn and I ran over a rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the scene in Zodiac where John Carroll Lynch is like, those knives I use to kill chickens, and you're like, nobody asked you about that, man. Like you don't have to explain it if nobody asked you.
Oh, I love when he turns up and it's sort of, especially the ending where he sort of Jake Gyllenhaal's character goes in to sort of get a look at him, and he just gives him a look, and it's just the most terrifying thing ever.
I know, John. I mean, part of me is. John Carroll Lynch carries a weight of a nice guy, to me into his roles, partially from Fargo, but he's the helpful neighbor in my eyes, the way he seems, the way he's always played characters. And so to see him play ostensibly a Zodiac suspect. But yeah, that look at the end, I don't know how he curls his face into that look, but it's so amazing.
It is. It's absolutely. I mean, and you're absolutely right. His as Marge Gunderson's husband in Fargo, he's the nicest guy in the world. Who gets up to make her a breakfast because you're
Yeah.
gonna need a breakfast. You're gonna need a breakfast, Marge.
Yeah, he's the guy, and he's trying to create a painting for a 10-cent stamp, and like he's just like this beautiful, sweet Midwestern man.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous characterization. Again, everything comes back to the Coens sooner or later.
I know they are my I think my favorite overall filmmakers. Yeah.
They've made so many good films that it's almost baffling when you get to oh, and there's that one, you forget them. And although there's this thing about the Coen brothers movie, there are films that just don't fit in with that as well. No Country for Old Men. It doesn't
Yeah.
strike me. It's not a Coen brothers movie. It strikes me as just a movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I mean, I think they put some of their touch into it, especially with a lot of the eccentricities that the characters have, like fit in well with their world. But yeah, I mean, they went out of their way to say that they just basically filmed the book as much as they could.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was. I mean, the book, Cormac McCarthy's novel, was initially a screenplay, and then he couldn't get it made or sell it as a screenplay, so he turned it into a book. And if you read the book, it's just like he said, she said, with lots of dialogue. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not done much to make it into a novel, and it's brilliant. It works.
Yeah, no,
That's all you
absolutely.
need.
I mean, talking about cliches that, in terms of cliches you love or taking them and reworking them, I think the Coen brothers do that with Miller's Crossing. I mean, that
Mm.
in the hands of another people, that's a pretty run-of-the-mill gangster flick, but they take all the gangster movie cliches and just Coen them up like crazy, and then you get something different, familiar but different,
Yeah, what's the rumpus? Even all the language has this sort of beautiful. I talked to one of them,
Oh,
Ethan,
cool.
I think it was, and he said the reason I don't think this was an original thing. I think he told a lot of people this, but one of the reasons they did Miller's Crossing was they wanted to do a Dashiell Hammett book,
I had heard this.
but there wasn't a Dashiell Hammett book which was actually sort of convertible into a movie, it was easier for them to just write something in the style of Dashiell Hammett rather
Yeah.
than to do another version of Red Harvest or to do a version of The Glass Key or something like that.
Right. And they had already been made, and then they're looking at like they're remaking something. But yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that movie is outstanding.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, and Gabriel Byrne as well is so good in that. It's like
Oh, he's incredible.
at his sexiest. I mean, I quite.
Yeah, he's good, man. And Turturro, I love him in that movie. The look into your heart, the begging for his life. I mean, again, such a cliche, but the way Turturro just like goes for it is again, another great character actor taking something and just taking a cliche and making it their own. Beautiful.
I love those extremes as well that they go to. So as you say, just absolutely going for it, absolutely having not holding anything back.
Right. Especially the juxtaposition of like Gabriel Byrne keeping everything cool, calm, and inside, and then this other guy letting every emotion and thought in his head just stream, and also everything he thinks will help him stream out of him. Is watching them interact is so fascinating in that scene because Gabriel Byrne gives like nothing away.
He's just got the brim of his hat pulled down so tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I'm really anti sort of screenwriter manuals and things because I look at that film and I say, where's Gabriel Byrne's arc? What does he learn in that movie? I mean, he doesn't learn anything. He's just like, I mean, he doesn't kill him and then he kills him. I mean, that's I guess that's the only thing, but it's not like he's a different person or he loses his calm at any point,
It's true. That's really true. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Coen brothers are their screenplays are anti a lot of structural or screenwriter manual ideas.
Yeah. I mean, as they should be. Damn it.
Yeah, like the Raising Arizona, and then this is the plot is pretty straightforward, and then all of a sudden enter the Hell Rider, and okay, now what are we doing?
Who has the same tattoo as our hero
Yeah,
for no apparent reason.
right. But
Think.
also just a demon, a literal like black evil character.
Yeah. And I mean, that film as well, you're like 20, 30 minutes in before the credits.
Oh man, I love that. Yeah, that cold open. Yeah, with the going to jail, and yeah, that I love when that hits.
So, turn to the right. Don't forget to print him, Ned.
So good.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about as well, as a sort of comedian who's watching movies and has a love for movies, there's a definite sort of on ramp to cinema careers from the world of comedians. You think of Robin Williams and Jim Carrey and all. But who are your favorites in that world of the people who are comedians, comics who have made careers in as film?
Great question. I mean, Robin Williams is first and foremost, I think, for the hit and miss of his career, which is pretty wildly fluctuating. But actually really love what Bill Burr has done for his career. He's a great stand-up, and I think comedians have trouble with this because they maybe want to lead some comedies, or they want to be bigger stars in the world of TV or movies. But I feel like Burr has realized that there's a niche to be filled for the character actor, and that he looks a specific way, he can act a specific way, and he's like beautifully like nestled himself into a niche that he can translate into from I think The Mandalorian, which he was in, to a movie like The Heat, and then the Pete Davidson, The King of Staten Island. So like he's been in such a wide variety of movies because he's settled into such a good niche, and I find like that career really inspiring.
He's going to be in Glengarry Glen Ross. I'm not sure if that's a Broadway or
It is, yeah, it's on Broadway. So yeah,
right.
and I feel like he's worked his way into something like that, learning how to act by understanding what makes you watchable. It's hard to do.
It has that having that distinctiveness as well that I think he has is a really sort of distinctive but flexible. Sort of see him and you get him straight away. But
right.
you might even think, is that Bill Burr? Because you're
right
taken with the character.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder who he's playing in Glengarry. I would imagine that Ed Harris role.
I was exactly that, but just because of the physical similarity, it might not be. It could be, but Ed Harris role strikes me as the right kind of stature as well.
Right.
I mean, also in terms of how many lines he's getting and the stature of everyone else in the cast.
Yeah, and also like Ed Harris gets so fired up for a couple scenes in that movie, and I feel like that again, Byrne, like that's where he lives. He lives in such a good place. And yeah, it's also hard to quantify it's hard to look at yourself from the outside and see what the world sees sometimes, and then be able to use that to find good roles for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. See what you have to offer, and not just sort of like I can do anything.
Yeah, because the instinct is I want to do that. I want to be the star. I want to do this. I want to. But it takes a lot of like self-awareness and a little bit of like humbling yourself to understand how you're perceived
and still maintain the possibilities. You don't want to sort of ruin yourself for comedy either. You want to have
right
go back to that as well whenever you can. I mean, I was joking when I was suggesting some things in the email. I was joking about Andrew Diceman.
Yeah, Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay. I don't know where I get Diceman from. Oh, Luke Reinhardt. It's a novel, isn't it? I was thinking of Andrew Dice Clay, but then again, he shows up in A Star Is Born, and he's actually really, really good.
Right. I mean, I think he's a good example though of a person who had the pop culture in the palm of his hand for a second and decided to make The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
Yeah.
And it's a huge bomb, and it kills his career. I mean, obviously there was a shelf life on the comedy he was doing, but he had cultural cachet.
Yeah.
And it really is, I wouldn't tell anybody, where to spend something like that, but you would be very well served to it's hard because you're a star, but you'd be better served to find a great director and say, I would love to be a side character in a movie that you make, rather than, hey, write me a vehicle. Yeah, but it's hard to, who's gonna turn down a starring vehicle? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even Peter Sellers, who's, let's face it, a better actor than Andrew Dice Clay.
Well, maybe. No, no.
But I mean, disaster that was Casino Royale was partly because he didn't want to parody James Bond. He wanted to be James Bond.
Right,
He
right.
wanted, he wanted to be sexy and Britt Eklund and all the rest of it. And he was, you look at those black and white comedies he made in England, and he's playing sort of middle-aged. He's playing who he is,
Mhm.
a little bit older than he is, but sort of middle-aged, dumpy little guys and nobodies, and and in a great way, in a wonderful way. And then you hit the 60s and the 70s, and he wants to be, svelte and the hero, the lead.
Yeah. No, I don't begrudge him, but it's hard. It's very difficult, and I think like talking about John Carroll Lynch carrying a perception of himself into movies, comedians especially, somebody like Sellers in that moment, but Burr, you do carry the weight of being a funny man into things, and it fair or unfair in an audience is sometimes has trouble separating that out. If you're gonna all of a sudden try to be a sexy star in a movie, I mean, the weight of your context follows you,
Yeah.
and that can be a blessing or a curse.
Who are you looking at in the comedy scene at the moment that you're sort of the people you admire most? Who are doing?
The people I really love Mark Maron, for the way that he resurrected his career, but also the way that I loved his last special. I don't know if you've seen it,
Yeah.
but I really really loved it. I felt like it was a really perfect distillation of where he's come from, where he is, and where he's going. And so I really love that. And then my one of my all-time favorites is Paul F. Tompkins. He has a comedy career that I really really admire, which is that he put out a bunch of stand-up albums, and he did stand-up, and he's been in TV and movies and written sketches, but he also has transitioned into being just very silly and fun and character based, and I find that to be really appealing because he lives in a lot of worlds, but nothing feels forced with him.
What about in the past? Who are the people that maybe even inspired you to actually get into the game?
So, yeah, I mean, it's funny now, but when I was a teenager, it was very much Bill Hicks albums, which I don't think have aged that well. I mean,
I saw him
love
live
him.
I saw him live in Liverpool, and he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So well, I think it must have been definitely his last tour. But yeah, he was amazing, and I loved his stuff. But it's kind of almost like he pushed that shock jock button really incredibly well, and a lot of people dived in who
Yes.
who weren't as good, and some stole his material, Mr. Leary.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny because he did push that button. You're right. But I find, one of his jokes that I love so much is envelope pushing jokes. It's two moths flying to the sun, being like, "It's going to be worth it, man." Like I think like sometimes you want them to be personal and truthful, but sometimes you just want people to be funny and people to be let their guard down and uninhibitedly be silly, and that's the thing, and I find it a bummer when comedians try to be cool. I don't just it's not a thing. Don't try to be cool. Stop standing away from the thing and having an affectation about it. I don't love that. But Hicks, that being said, Hicks was very important to me because I didn't know that anybody could make money being that way. Like, I didn't know you could do that. And then Patton Oswalt was another big one. I bought his albums when I was young too, and so yeah, those were important guys to me too. And also, like, I did my homework. I did Carlin and Hicks and Pryor and all those guys. And I loved them too. But yeah, I mean, I used to just go to the record store and flick through comedy CDs and then buy like two or three at a time.
Yeah, I remember listening to. I mean, I know that again, it's a name that perhaps has not worn well, but Woody Allen's stand-up. I had a double album of his, and it was, the whole thing about the deer and hunting season and all that sort of stuff. It's just some of the best. There's a joke that he has on there, which is I was playing vibes at a party and a woman came up to me and she says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm playing vibes." And she said, "Why are you playing vibes?" It helps me to sublimate my sexual tension. And she says, I also know a way of sublimating sexual tension. And I go, "Oh, gee, a girl who also plays vibes."
I'm not gonna like, you can't sit here and pretend that Woody Allen wasn't funny,
Oh my God, he was great. I mean, he is great. I'm not going to go into the whole thing because nobody can know. So
right.
I'm not going to argue the merits of it here.
No,
But
no, 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 but I totally understand you.
the jokes, his prose, his short stories, and his stand-up, I think it's kind of like probably his least known of his many talents, his many things that he's done.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely did get forgotten. I mean, there are those guys who use stand up as a jumping off point and then kind of never really go back to it much or ever again. I mean, Eddie Murphy, I think recently came out and said that stand up is just not a thing that he cares to do ever again. And when I started, and I don't know if this was always going on, there was always a rumor that Eddie Murphy was gonna start doing stand up again.
Right,
And
right.
oh, he's gonna be doing stand up. He's gonna be doing stand up. And I think Eddie Murphy is he's a very weirdly to me self-possessed guy. Like he's very seemingly happy with the way that his career in life is going, has gone. He doesn't ever seem to. He does what he wants when he wants. Yeah, I auditioned for that new Beverly Hills Cop movie.
Oh, really? What
Yeah, yeah.
happened? What was
I mean I didn't get it, but it was it was the biggest thing I ever auditioned for.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Oh man, I hope you what is that something you're looking for in the future? You're looking to get into the movies?
I would love to. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a real dream of mine.
Yeah.
The album coming out was a real dream, and I'm gonna have that being coming out. So my next real, like, the thing that I really really would love is to get into a movie.
I think it'll happen. I'm pretty
Thank
sure.
you.
I'm manifesting it. I'm
Thank
manifesting
you.
it. Even though I had a friend recently who told me about manifesting, and she said, what you have to do is lie on a bed and manifest that there's money on the ceiling. And I was like, okay. So couldn't you? Do you have to manifest as a ladder as well?
Yeah,
Go and get the money.
you do, or something with like one of those sticky ends on it. You just
Get off.
yeah. Yeah, I had a person tell me that the way to manifest was right before you go to sleep, you think of a moment that you want to happen, and you do that for like 6 weeks.
What? That's too long before going to sleep, surely.
Yeah, yeah. I know. That's what I said.
So yeah, I'm not sure. I just think maybe planning and sort of doing stuff, writing letters, sending your CV and your headshots might be better.
I know. I think it would actually be better to just walking around Hollywood with like a 500 headshots.
And shower, going to parties and bumping into people and all that stuff. The hard work, the shoe leather.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm honestly going to parties and meeting people is a good way to do it.
Yeah, I've got all my best jobs from basically mingling with people when they're drunk.
Yep.
Getting them, charming them, and getting them to
absolutely.
Not on purpose, but
No. Sometimes it just happens.
Brilliant, Chris. Well, when's the album out? And what's the title so that our listeners can get it?
The album is out August 29th, and it is called Husky Boy.
Husky Boy. Wonderful. And yeah, I've listened to it already. I really loved it. I really loved the thing about different bits of your body that you're allowed to touch, which was...
Thank you very much.
One of many bits that I enjoyed. And if you haven't had the opportunity of... you should follow Chris on Twitter at
Real Chris Cal.
There you go, and you will find some of his. I'll put a link up on the show notes as well.
Thank you.
It's been a real joy talking to you, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, John. This is awesome. I could talk to you about movies all day.
If there's one thing that my family and friends know me for, it's being an amazing gift giver. I owe it all to Celebrations Passport from 1-800-Flowers.com, my one-stop shopping site that has amazing gifts for every occasion. With Celebrations Passport, I get free shipping on thousands of amazing gifts. And the more gifts I give, the more perks and rewards I earn. To learn more and take your gift giving to the next level, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.